poor. Can a constitution be crafted that can change this present system? I leave the execution of these concerns to the lawyers. Two facts stand out. Fact number one, there is a great poverty in our country while our land is blessed with many natural and human resources. This shows that there is much inequality in our country today. This is an injustice to most of our people. Fact number two, a unique feature of our 1987 constitutions is its stress on social justice. Why is this so? On the one hand, there is a constitution that has strong provisions on social justice. On the other hand, after 28 years since its promulgation, we are still mired in so much inequality. I see that one great problem is the paradigm of development that our leaders follow. I am no economist nor development theorist, but we can observe the results. There are more people who are poor, and there are few families who are extremely rich. So much so that in 2011, 40 families have an income that is equivalent to 76% of the country's gross domestic product. In spite of the prided high level of the country's GDP, the vast majority of the poor remain poor as before. We have to admit that the paradigm that is being pursued is one that favors the rich and the foreigners because of their dollars. Oh, how government and business salivate for foreign direct investments. Our leaders could do anything, even sell out our natural patrimony so that foreigners can have 100% ownership of our natural resources to bring in more FDIs. Is this not what they want the economic cha-cha for? To have foreign investments, we sacrifice the rights of the laborers, like the right to form unions and to keep their salaries low. Our police and military protect multinational installations against Filipino protesters who are being oppressed. We are willing to have our mountains exploited and leveled off for the billions of dollars that foreign mining and agribusiness companies promise to bring. We extend tax holidays to big business to exploit our land in the name of development. But the government does not lift a finger to protect our local businesses in the name of free trade. What we need is a new paradigm, where the poor are at the center of development and not just collateral damage. A new paradigm that restores dignity and power to the people, that gives them voice. A paradigm that makes social reform and social justice a national agenda, not just written on paper. A paradigm that exacts accountability from public officials. A paradigm that safeguards the public commons and the environment. Because of the present paradigm that is being espoused by our political and economic leaders, our laws are being selective in implementing the provisions of our Constitution. Although the Constitution calls for dismantling of political dynasties, there is no enabling law for this. Nor is there an enabling law for freedom of information. The provision for agrarian reform is weakened by so many exceptions and exclusions. There is no law for urban land reform, no law for the living wage that the Constitution asks. Not only the lawmakers can be faulted here, but also the executive branch, which should implement the law. The Carper Law was lamely executed in the past 25 years to the benefit of big landowners, and we blame the law. The IPRA law of the IPs are not properly implemented. In fact, there are many complaints that the NCIP side more with mining companies than protecting the rights of the indigenous constituents. In spite of the UDHA, the urban poor are being relocated without due process and thrown into relocation sites without water, electricity, schools, and health centers. Many municipalities do not have delineated municipal waters up to now, as the fishing code mandated way back in 1998. Much less are the small fisher folks protected in their municipal waters from big-time trawlers. Can there be a constitution that mandates that the lawmakers to make laws that implement its provisions within a fixed time frame so that they do not just stay on paper? Or can the Constitution itself make the laws that the lawmakers will not do because they will be against their interests? Like, for example, freedom of information, the anti-dynasty bill, the anti-pork barrel, the living wage bill. Can there be a constitution that can punish government officials who do not execute the laws? There is presently a culture of impunity for government officials, from the President of the Republic down to the barangay chairman, who do not do what the law requires them to do. The big question is, who can protect the people from the government which destroys the law or does not implement the laws they are supposed to implement? Bring them to the judiciary? Has the judiciary the capacity or even the willingness to prosecute and convict government officials in record time? Even the ombudsman is perceived by many as toothless. It is able to prosecute only the small fries and the persons in the opposition who earn the ire of the administration. Perhaps a constitution that strengthens the judiciary is needed, and one that can prosecute even the hoodlums in robes. When we ask the poor what they want, we get simple answers. We want decent meals every day. We want regular jobs, decent housing. We want good shelter. We want good education for our children. We want medical care when we get sick. Food, shelter, job, education, health care. Are these demands too much to give? Can the government not provide these for all its people? They do not want much, really. They just want the basic services. But are these basic services being given by the government? Instead of giving them to the people with the present paradigm of the public-private partnership, these basic services are being sold to private business entities. Instead of doing its job, the government is passing on its obligations to business. Business will not offer service. They will get profit. It is not in the logic of business to give service. If it does, it is to get something in return and at a high cost. In Metro Manila, water and electricity have been privatized at a great cost to the people. MRT and LRT are the transportations of the poor. They are privatized and do not even give decent service. These become monopolies, and so also are our highways. They even want, and already subtly are doing so, to privatize public hospitals, like the Philippine Orthopedic Hospital, and even our state universities. There is no such thing as housing for the poor in our country. NHA charged the poor in an exorbitant way by making them pay a house for 25 years, which is so substandard that it can stand only for 5 years. Can the Constitution mandate that these basic services be given by the government at the cost and efficiency that the people deserve? Public services should not be privatized. Education is a basic service too. Why do people who send their children to private schools have to shoulder the education of their children when they too pay taxes? Private schools do the service that the government should do. They need to be extensively supported by taxpayers' money. Can the Constitution not mandate that education be free and really free for all? Many parents, in reality, for the education, even in public schools, by the so-called projects that are asked from the students. Many of these projects have nothing to do at all with their academic subjects at school, like projects to bring eating bowls for the canteen and even to provide teachers' tables. Why should education be free only till the secondary level? This means that the poor have really no fighting chance to land in a better job because they cannot go to college. Can the Constitution mandate that education be free up to the tertiary level, not only in state colleges and universities, but also by heavily supporting private colleges and universities? People cannot live in a country if there is no security of tenure. The issue of security is not only an issue of peace and order. It is also an issue of stability, which many poor people do not have. They have no stability in their jobs. There is rampant casualization of labor, and these are being done by big business. They hold as a mantra their accountability to the stockholders, but hardly give a serious consideration to the rank-and-file workers. They report on the profit of the company, but not on the state of their laborers, who actually are the ones who create their profit. So many people have no security of dwelling. They can be easily demolished, even by the local government themselves, many times even against the law, against the UDHA. Many farmers have no security of tenure in their lands. Big business are the prime land grabbers, of course through contrived legal means. Not only are the large tracts of lands of the landowners not being parceled out to the small farmers, but the lands of the small farmers are being consolidated by big business in the name of agribusiness, real estate development, or tourism. Studies of the UN have shown that family-sized farms are the ones that assure food security to the locality. They are the ones that maximize the use of the land and are able to care better for the environment by the practice of organic farming. The Constitution should make government do its job of regulating big business and making it responsible and accountable. The call of the free market presently is for small government. Follow the market. It will regulate the situation, they chime. Not so. It is the business of government to regulate the market so that it serves not only its owners and stockholders, but the common good. We need strong government to make the playing field more even for all. It is big business and multinationals who call for small government so that they can penetrate and capture our market at the expense of the small entrepreneurs and the poor. Another reality that makes the poor poor is the use of the law to harass them. Cases are easily being contrived against the poor. Let us just go to the city jails. There are so many there who are falsely accused. Because they are poor and ignorant, they can easily be intimidated and even sent to jail. How many farmers are being accused of trespassing because they entered the land which has already been awarded to them in the first place? How many IPs are being accused of violence when they defend their ancestral domain? Can the Constitution prevent the use of the law to harass and control the poor? Is there no way to punish those who use the law against the poor? It may be claimed that there are mechanisms for this. The fact is, if there are, they are not working. Only those who can afford lawyers are protected by the law. They even use their lawyers to contrive cases against the ignorant and those without resources. In Porac, Pampanga, 6 farmers are issued warrant of arrests because they caught a blue guard slaughtering their goat. They are accused of illegal detention. I do not know if what I said makes any sense in this conference. The only claim I have is that they are based on the experiences of the people. They are a kind of wish list, or you may call wishful thinking. But if there be a new constitution, these concerns be considered, not by the laws that will come later on, but by the very constitution itself.